Well, watch me now.
BBC Sports, man. It's your boy Notty Dred, the host of The Rant and producer. And I'm here with y'all. Introduce yourselves.
Man, P.O. Dave, Cannonball, Tannenbaum.
Torrance Wilson.
Jason Poliver.
Alright, man. And this is the first round table with your boy Notty Dred on BBC Sports, The Rant. And we're going to pretty much go over 4 of the main topics of the last few days in sports. And I think the main topic right now is what's going on right now. This Mark McGwire coming out and pretty much saying that, he was on steroids like nobody knew. But, Jason, what's your reaction to Mark McGwire admitting to being a steroid user?
I mean, beyond the obvious, yeah, like everyone knew. I think it's sort of weird the way he did it. I mean, he said, yeah, I did steroids, but steroids don't necessarily help you with bat speed or hand-eye coordination. And my problem with that is no one's saying it does that. No one's saying that it does anything but makes you stronger. It makes you hit home runs further. And all of these guys that come out and admit that they use steroids, they all sidestep the real issue here. They all try and say, well, it doesn't really help hand-eye coordination. Well, yeah, you can't play in the majors unless you have good hand-eye coordination.
Exactly.
None of them are willing to recognize that this helped them in some way, which is still a problem.
But does anybody care? Does anybody care that Mark McGwire used steroids for one, and does anybody care that he came out and admitted to use steroids?
I think I care simply because, why didn't you come out when you first did? It was obvious, and I think you set the tone for a lot of the athletes, not admitting it first, and then once it gets out, and then you want to come back and admit that you use steroids, and I was talking earlier in the green room with Tannenbaum that I really and truly believe this might be a money issue.
Money issue?
Because you're going to get interviews and whatnot. I mean, why now? That's
if you consider the fact that the Congress knew when Mark McGwire went and he refused to talk, they knew then that he admitted to them that he used steroids, but he wasn't granted an immunity. So should some of the responsibility be on the congressman, or
No. Well, it's ridiculous that Congress was even debating it in the first place with all the problems that are going on right now. But more so than that, I mean, it's just, it's not on Congress, it's on McGwire. He was afraid of what the public reaction would be at the time. Now that a few other people have come out and said that they've done steroids and admitted to it, it seems like he feels like it's, a better time to do it.
Yeah, the hit won't be as hard.
Exactly. He won't get as much attention, as much negative attention for it as he would have had he said that he had done it in front of Congress.
So, should roids and HGH, should they be legalized? I mean, when you really look at it, if you illegalize steroids, you call this a steroid era, you're really going to cheat the guys who come after the steroid era, just like you cheat the guys before the steroid era. So should you just go ahead and legalize it? That way the guys who come behind them have the same opportunity to surpass those numbers, because that's all baseball is about anyway, numbers.
Nah, I don't think you legalize it because they still have adverse health effects in terms of breaking down the body more rapidly when you stop using them. A lot of these players, I think they were using them to get healthier more quickly. And if you introduce that in the professional ranks, you introduce it in the collegiate ranks, you introduce it in each rank below that, and some kids are already feeling the adverse health effects of them as it is now, and if you just make it okay for them when they're growing up 13, 14, 15, there's going to be more issues.
One point I want to make too that it just came to mind. I think I heard or read earlier that Mark McGwire is trying to come back to coaching.
Yeah, he is coaching.
I think a lot of that with him coming out, because you think about it, if he comes back to coaching, he would have went under a lot of scrutiny.
Oh yeah.
A lot of cameras, a lot of eyes would have been on him. What is he doing to these players? What is he telling them? Is he, putting them on steroids? I think a lot of that. So I think a lot of that had to do with him coming out as well too. Go ahead and get him that skeleton out of the closet that he used steroids. Now that it's out, he comes into coaching. It's kind of water under the bridge now. People won't be coming up asking about it.
It's water under the bridge to an extent because every one of these guys says, you know, it was a dumb thing to do and I regret it and I'm sorry, but they're only saying that because they've been caught. He wasn't saying that when he was hitting 70 home runs.
You're right.
So you have to sort of look at the character of these guys, and everyone always thought Mark McGwire was a great guy, but by definition, these are performance-enhancing drugs. He's a cheater.
I feel totally different with this because a lot of people don't realize they took growth hormones because it was legal at the time. It wasn't the wrong thing to do. They didn't pass the drugs in 2005 to say that you can't take these drugs and then it's going to be against the rules of playing. So all they were doing was benefiting their family. I mean, the only thing he was doing, any other person out here would do, just to benefit their family, benefit their pockets, and at the same time benefit baseball, because nobody benefited more.
But that's true. But you look, and McGwire was injected with steroids. Not just
That's
HGH,
illegal. That's illegal.
steroids.
But steroids weren't illegal in baseball.
No, they were. When Canseco said that he injected all of these guys with steroids, they were banned in baseball.
But you gotta look at baseball too. You gotta look at baseball.
After 2005, when Canseco came out with
But that's just HGH.
So
Steroids and HGH are two separate things.
Well, look at baseball.
But
How
even
can,
both.
Yeah, even steroids
Neither
were,
one of them was banned until
were banned
after
in
2005.
but what does that say about baseball? You got, if you get caught with steroids, baseball won't punish you, but the law will. You know, baseball has some blame. I think a lot of baseball officials knew what was going on. I think ratings were so bad, numbers were down,
It was the
and
best thing ever happened.
With the
long
lockout
ball,
season.
yeah, the long ball brings fans.
Considering that two of the most prolific steroid users of our day, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire, when they were in Oakland, they both played on Tony La Russa.
Alex
They was
Rodriguez.
I'm just saying. I'm going all the way back to the '90s now. You know, you look at the St. Louis Cardinals, Mark McGwire, Tony La Russa, and now you're looking at Albert Pujols.
I don't think he's juiced.
I'm saying you fooled me once, shame on me.
Yeah.
You fooled me
And
100
that's
times.
the sad part.
Shame on you.
That's
So
the sad part
you know,
about it. You know, some guys who are legitimately like hard workers and not doing it the right way. I mean, if you have a great season, you're under scrutiny now. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're certainly capable of hitting home runs without steroids. I mean, does anyone think that Todd Helton was ever on steroids? No. I mean, so you're capable of doing it, but the reality is, it's out there. And
70 home runs.
well, listen.
Well,
Look at,
in Sammy Sosa's case, 60 for 3 years in a row.
Sammy Sosa hit 50 plus for 6 seasons in a row. The guy was clearly on steroids if you look at his body. But I mean, there are guys who have great career home run numbers that never took steroids, and they're the ones who are really going to suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, name me one of those
I
guys.
agree. In
I
our era, there's only
one
been
of those
3.
guys.
Ken Griffey Jr., Jim Thome, and Frank Thomas are the only 3 who are in that 500 plus home run club that haven't admitted or tested.
No, you got
Fred McGriff is at
He
40.
doesn't have 500.
He's at like 40.
And
Murray
Murray
has 500.
Yeah, but he came really before.
McGriff
this
has
all time.
499.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got. I mean, he doesn't have 500, but he was he
So,
was considered a home run.
Going around the table, does Mark McGwire deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
I feel like he doesn't. And that's not just saying because of steroids. I care less about the steroids thing. My thing is, I believe that he shouldn't because of the numbers. The 260 batting average, that just wasn't enough for me. The home runs in itself was great, but I mean, if people want to throw an asterisk behind it whatsoever, it's a whole era of working people that was juicing. There was a lot of people that was shortstop and second baseman that was juicing,
Exactly.
that was hitting 20 home runs.
Brady Anderson.
Yeah, Brady Anderson being one of them. So
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter. You can't actually just say he was the only guy and Sammy Sosa was the only other guy. There's a whole era of working people, pitchers and all. How can you take away pitchers numbers? Watch Clinton. What are you going to do toward that?
Exactly.
I just don't feel like he was a Hall of Famer. But Barry Bonds, on the other hand, I feel like he's the first ballot Hall of Famer either way. I feel like he's the one that's going to come out of this looking in bad shape, but he hasn't admitted to it, and he's never going to admit to it.
But there are positive tests.
Hall of Fame?
I mean, I don't know, and I think I'm a little bit biased because I grew up watching baseball during this era, and I had, Sammy Sosa posters up all over my bedroom. So I'm a little biased, and I want to say yes, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
If I had to vote right now, if I was a voter, I would say no.
Yeah, I would say don't know for now. Maybe in 10, 15 years when it comes out, you know, how much of the percentage of players are actually using this and to how much of an extent it was throughout the game. But, you know, in addition to that, I'm okay with it if you put on his placard was involved with steroid scandals. So for, you know, the rest of time, whenever anybody goes to the Hall of Fame, they know that there was controversy during the steroid era and he was fully involved in it.